Hey everybody, this is Kathy. Welcome back. Today we're going to go over a laundry list, I guess you would say, of broken promises from Eric Carroll. I'm going to show you how his word means nothing. He will say what it takes to get what he wants. And I imagine this is probably how he's lived his life. And not just being a bullshitter, but a flat out liar. And I believe that he lies to dangle carrots and get people's hopes up so he can, get what he wants from you, and actually give people false hope and use it as leverage, as he did with the Whitakers. And we're going to go over some of these broken promises, these lies, everything from tiny lies to huge lies, to lives that ruined an entire family. And he doesn't care. He does not care. In fact, like I said, I don't think his word ever meant nothing in his life, because I don't know anybody who type of person that would just go around lying to people. I mean, one thing after the next. I mean, just and never fulfilling a single promise ever. That's a pretty rotten track record. So if anybody, comes along in Eric Carroll's path and he starts making you promises and stuff, just watch this video first, and I hope anybody that he's going to deal with can see this video, and I'm going to show you just how much his word means nothing. And when I grew up, people's word meant something. You could make a deal on a handshake and people would never break their deal. In fact, they just wouldn't want to be known as a liar. And things have really changed, and now it's people like Eric who doesn't care. He doesn't care if he's a liar. And not only did he make a bunch of promises he never intended on keeping, which is just flat out lies, but he got everybody's hopes up. And he never apologized once for breaking all these promises and lies. In fact, he just turned it around on everybody else and blamed them for him not keeping his word. And people today, like Eric, you can try to safeguard all you want. I mean, but there's still going to be people like him that you can even sign a contract. And for us who, don't live like this, to us, a handshake would be good. I don't break my word. I just wouldn't. And especially, he broke these promises to the Whitakers and everybody else right on camera in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And he doesn't care. Does not care. So a man whose word means nothing to him and anybody else, that's dangerous. Very dangerous. Can't believe a word comes out of his mouth. Now, from the very first day that Eric met the Whitakers, he started making promises. I mean, promised them the moon. The sky's the limit. Like he's some big sugar daddy. It's just going to grant every wish and desire that they have. Rub Eric's big belly and make a wish, and that's how he came off the very first day. And you cannot blame Betty and Larry for believing his promises and lies and stuff, because pretty much everybody did. Because Eric didn't just lie to the Whitakers, he lied to hundreds of thousands of people who were watching. Now, absolutely, we shouldn't have had any reason to doubt him, besides the fact that there are people that do take advantage of other people and stuff. But Eric assured everybody he's the son of a preacher, and he's this and he's that, and he does dad talk and all this to let everybody's guard down. But and so for Betty and Larry, of course they're going to believe what he says. And on top of it, who came before Eric was Mark Laeda. And Mark from Soft White Underbelly, he did everything he said he was going to do, and probably more. Everything Mark promised them, he did. Okay, so they wouldn't think that there's any other thing to believe except this next person's going to do what they say, right? Or do what he promises, I should say. So when Eric shows up and starts making all these promises, yeah, they're going to believe it. And on top of that, Eric's making these promises, like I said, in front of hundreds of thousands of people. So that would be another reason. He's thinking to himself, well, yeah, he's a preacher's son. Mark never lied to us. He's doing this in front of hundreds of thousands of people. So absolutely nobody would think he would lie in front of all these people, right? Well, he did. So right from the beginning, Daddy Warbucks here, he's pretending he can make any wish come true. And so he immediately, first time he meets them, starts granting wishes for them. Now, right when Eric met the Whitakers, he did this interview, and he just met these people, and he is starting off just like Daddy Warbucks. Anything you want, I can grant your wish. I'm a mover and a shaker, and I make things happen. And not only am I promising you a house, well, and by the way, the house started as a double wide. Yeah, we can. Well, in fact, I don't know if it's this one or he did 2 interviews when he first met him. I believe this was the second one he did, but this is the first time he met the Whitakers. Betty and Larry getting a interview with him. And yeah, so he is trying to make them believe that, he's Daddy Warbucks, he can make things happen. And the truth is, Eric admitted later that he didn't even have $100 in his account when he showed up right here. And he said that he had no money in his bank. He didn't know if his bills were going to clear at home. He left his wife, children, or child at home with no money. He has since, I'm pretty sure, deleted that video because I've looked and haven't found it. But we all remember him saying that, how broke he was. He is actually, he's making it seem to these people. He didn't say this. He didn't say he was broke to these Whitakers when he showed up. We didn't hear about that till 2 or 3 months later when him and Patrick had a falling out. But when he showed up, he was trying to act like the big daddy with all the money. So anyway, we're going to go over this. First, he's going to promise them, and this is, you could say, well, he's a bullshit or whatever. A liar is a liar. But he started out making them feel like whatever their wishes are, he's going to grant it. He's a genius.
Is there anywhere in the world that either of you would like to visit? Is there somewhere that you would like to see while you're alive, Larry? Anywhere that you can name? Japan, Australia, England. Don't go to England. The food's... I like to go to Australia. You like to go to Australia? That's a long plane flight. That's a long plane flight. I have been on an airplane. You've never been on an airplane? We're going to fix that. Huh? I'm going to have to get you on one. We're going to have to make sure there's somebody to take care of your family. We got to get you on an airplane. Ain't nothing, once you do it, you'll love it. It's a lot better than doing a long car ride. But it's an experience. It's an experience. How about...
Okay, so you can see them both look at him. They're not like, I'm sure they don't know what to think. But like I said, they got no reason to not believe him because, like I said, Mark didn't lie to them. He's doing this in front of hundreds of thousands of people. So he just starts out throwing this stuff. Oh, never been on an airplane ride? We're going to get you on a plane. We're going to get somebody to watch your family. We're going to make it happen. Okay, now, I think he did kind of give himself away that he's a bullshitter on this first interview because the first time he met him, because I think Whitakers are old enough to spot a bullshitter when they see one, and just like the airplane ride, he just throws things out there like he's, some billionaire. It's granting everybody's wishes.
What's some of your favorite things to cook? You cook whatever you want. We was talking about it. You used to be a hunter, so you like to eat deer meat too, right? Yeah. I'm gonna bring y'all some deer meat next time I come over here. Melissa Sims said, "What was?"
He's gonna bring deer meat next time he comes up. Did he ever bring that deer meat? Nope. Because they're getting to know Eric. They just met him, and he's just throwing things out there. Now, personally, I would never promise stuff like this. I'm not going to promise him them their first airplane ride or deer meat if I don't intend on following through, and especially the deer meat. He had an opportunity to fulfill that the very next time he came. And then he didn't have any deer meat next time, or the time after that, or the time after that. So this just shows you that he just says stuff. He says whatever it takes to impress them, try to impress them, or get their hopes up, or make them feel like Eric's this big sugar daddy that can, like I said, a genie, just rub his belly and he'll, grant you any wish. And they're not asking for this stuff. They didn't say, hey, wow, can you get us some deer meat? And he's put in that position. No, he's throwing this stuff out there nobody's even asking for. Why? Because his word means nothing. He knows he's not going to bring any deer meat or put them on a plane. This is just him trying to gain their confidence and have them trust him. Oh, this guy's going to get us a house, and he can do anything we want. And this is the end of June. He had months. And do you think they heard anything about this deer meat? Nope. Now, looking back, they probably think, yeah, this guy was bullshitting us the whole time. Now, the second trip, he's there, August 8th. He's promising to bring the Whitakers to the beach. Oh, yes. You've never seen the ocean? Yeah, we're going to bring you to the coastline.
Hey, get y'all to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get y'all to the beach.
Yeah.
I can't believe y'all never been to the beach.
I can't believe y'all didn't bring that deer meat.
Ain't nothing like being at the beach, putting your feet in the water. It's nice. We'll make it happen one day.
We'll make it happen one day.
I'm thinking about getting y'all a barnuminium.
Oh, and that's when he got into the barnuminium.
I don't know. The Amish might have a better.
Oh, forget the barnuminium. We're going to have an Amish barnuminium because, it costs more. But yeah, what about the beach? You said you're going to bring him to the beach someday. Well, you had many months, okay? Larry's probably catching on by now. This guy's he just talks. His word means nothing. Now, one of his biggest failures besides the house was not getting Ray to a doctor. Bringing him to the urgent care did absolutely nothing. He got some over-the-counter cream, and basically they told him to bring him to a doctor because that's what urgent cares do. They tie you over till you get to the doctor. How he didn't get a knee x-ray is beyond me. I was so shocked to even check to see if that facility had an x-ray, and absolutely got an x-ray because I've worked in multiple urgent cares. It was my side job besides my full-time job in family practice. I worked many years, 20 years, side jobs in urgent cares, and I ran the x-ray. So I wouldn't have worked in an urgent care probably if they didn't have an x-ray. So I don't know how he got there without getting an x-ray, got in and out of there, but they told him to bring him to a regular doctor, and he never did. He had all summer to do it, so he failed on the knee doctor. But nobody was spared from Eric's lies. He berated the Whitakers for not getting Ray to the doctor when he himself spent all summer not getting Ray to the doctor. And no, nobody was spared. And here he's got him in the trunk, and he's going to make more promises that he does not intend on keeping.
Everybody ready? Have you ever been fishing? You have? I want to take you fishing one day.
Yeah. Did he ever talk about bringing Ray fishing again? Because he still had the rest of the summer. Nope. He just likes promising people things that he's never going to do. Okay, now I found this one interesting because not only has he promised the Whitakers a new home, but in the meantime, while he's not doing anything all summer, but this is August 22nd, okay? We're getting to the end of summer. Eric's still promising the house, and not only that, he's promising to bring the Whitakers to rent a big Airbnb for them so they can feel what it's going to be like when they get their own house. Like I said, this is towards the end. As a matter of fact, this is just days before Eric came back, saying there's eviction notice and stuff like that. But here he is, still a week before all hell breaks loose, just days before, less than a week. He is promising them that they're going to stay in an Airbnb. Because why does this come up? Because they're going to the movies, okay? This is that video where he's going to the movies, August 22nd. Like I said, towards the end of summer. And all summer, from June, Larry has been voicing concerns about, hey, if we're going to have a house, we got to get moving on it. He said that back in June, and now it's to the end of August. Eric's been screwing around all summer. Now they're going to the movies, which is the last thing they need to do because they have many other things they should be doing. They should bring Ray to the doctor. They should be working on this house. But Eric wants to farm content so he can just put more money in his pocket. So as they're going to the movies, they're driving down the road and they just drove past that big house that Eric and his brother are renting, that big Airbnb. Now his brother's in the front seat filming. And so anyway, when they drive by, even Timmy notices the big house. I mean, it's probably, anyway. They're about to drive by the house where Eric is staying and his brother. And Larry says, there's the place where Eric is staying.
Eric's staying out there. Right. That way. I got rough. I got rough here. Yeah, that's where Eric's staying.
See, Timmy sees it. Yeah, he says that's where he holds me captive.
Huh? So Betty, that's where y'all stay then. Down there in the country. Oh, yeah.
He just showed Betty where you're all staying out in the country. He says, yeah, it's a nice place.
Stay there. Down there in the country. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a nice place. Daniels. It is.
Yeah, nice place. Nothing but the best for Eric.
I thought maybe one day when I come up here, I can get a house like that. Y'all can all come stay the night. Really? Would y'all like that? Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I find it interesting because he just promised them, now it's the end of August. Yeah, I'm gonna rent you guys a place like this. Yeah, you said, like, wow, really? Yeah. Because he's just got to say anything to keep dangling that carrot, you know what I mean? And now I find it interesting because he just said, yeah, we're going to get you guys the Airbnb so you can stay in it and see what it's going to be like when you have your new home. Oh, yeah, they're all happy and everything. Well, you guys know that Eric took up that collection he did take up a collection for a 5-bed Airbnb for the Whitakers to stay in. Remember that? He raised money. Well, Whitakers didn't stay there. Timmy stayed a few days, but the rest of the time was Eric's buddies. 5-bed. I don't know what that costs. I'm sure you can find out. but I'm sure it was thousands and thousands of dollars. And do you know what? I just got a clip that Eric's, wait a second. So I just found this clip where Eric said remember that time where he took in donations for that 5-bed Airbnb and it was supposed to be for the Whitakers, but it wasn't. It was for his buddies. Do you know how much money he made? Probably over $40,000 for that. That's why he said stop sending money, because the first month that they got money, their first payment of YouTube was, I think, $40,000. Listen.
I have no idea.
And the Whitakers didn't even get that Airbnb.
When I did take donations that one time for the Airbnb, I did 10 minutes later, I said stop, because I did not want to, I really didn't want to do it in the first place. Look how long I've been in West Virginia now, guys. I didn't have to take that hit. You saw what we got. I was transparent with you there too. That was more than the first month's pay.
More than the first month's pay. And he said, I was transparent with you. He was transparent with Dwayne, but none of us. He didn't tell us he got more than the first month's pay, because if I remember right, Patrick said the first month's pay was $40,000. So yeah, that Airbnb that he promised the Whitakers, yeah, they didn't get it, but he got more than the first month's pay. Yeah, so he promised.
A house like that, y'all can all come stay the night. Really? Would y'all? Yeah, I thought maybe one day when I come up here, I can get a house like that. Y'all can all come stay the night. Really? Would y'all like that? Yeah.
See how he just keeps promising things that he's never gonna do?
Show you what it would be like once you get your new home.
Yeah. But don't worry, Whitakers. You're not the only one getting the shaft, okay? Eric's own wife gets the shaft, okay? Well, anyway. Listen to what he says about his wife. Larry says,
how about your wife love up here? She's come up here.
Your love?
Oh, she's been wanting to come. Huh? She's wanting to come. Well, why don't you bring her come by? Working.
Oh, working.
A hair salon.
Somebody's got to work in that household, you know what I mean? And that's another thing. If Eric's gone all the time and the wife works full time, who's watching the kids? And if Timmy went to his house, who would be with Timmy? And who's with their kids?
Working. She runs a hair salon. Drive what? She runs a hair salon. She cuts hair. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's why Eric's hair is full of mousse.
She's beer salon. Yep. Okay. But if I ever come up and she can make it with me, she'll come up. She ever takes vacation? Yeah, but mostly near the end of the year because we still got kids in school. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Eric's wife never gets to go on vacations, just Eric. And like every other promise he's ever made, he broke this promise too. He never kept it. But I'll tell you what he did do. He did rake in all that money, which could have gotten him all Airbnbs. But he got all that money. And what did he do? He did rent another big one, but it was for him and his buddies. Whitakers didn't get nothing. And like I said, nobody was safe from the promises. He lied to Betty and Larry. He lied to Ray. And he's lied to Timmy. Now, can you imagine, because now it's obvious, I think to probably everybody, that Eric never planned on giving them a house. Never planned on getting the, organizing any effort to get them a house. It was all about himself. And so at this point, I don't think anybody really believes that he was ever going to build the house for the Whitakers. But he promised Timmy If it's the last thing he's going to do, he's going to get that house. I mean, can you imagine?
He loved it, guys.
Can you imagine doing this to Timmy?
Like that. You like that, didn't you? You want your own bedroom? We're gonna get you a house, buddy. I promise. That's the last thing I do. Show me new shirt you got.
I mean, can you imagine that? He knows damn well Timmy ain't gonna get no house. I think he despises the Whitakers, to be honest. Because you could not do this to somebody without just really despising somebody. I mean, you couldn't do this, especially to Timmy or any of them. And I imagine at this point, the brother in the back seat knows damn well Eric's a bullshitter and never keeps his promises. But he's going along with it because he got a $500 spending package to go along with his free trip the Whitakers were paying for. Yeah, the Airbnb that Whitakers never got? Nope. Eric's brother and all his buddies did, though. Several of them.
We're going to get you a house, buddy. I promise. That's the last thing I do.
And again, not one of them was spared. Even Lorraine got promised the new house. And this was like 1 hour before Eric backs out. Now, I believe that they went there the first time looking to see if BJ was there so he could back out. But she wasn't there, so he left and he came back. And there's John Mast there. And I'm going to tell you what. I don't believe for a second that he's not in on all this. Because what type of an ex-Amish man, elderly man, does not know that Amish, number one, don't need a Amish diplomat to help somebody get a Amish built home? Okay, and there's no way that John Mast doesn't know this. And on top of him being excommunicated, that the Amish probably wouldn't want to have anything to do with. On top of it, he just got done fighting the Amish people in a court of law for 5 years straight. So he's been at war with the Amish. This ex-Amish man has been at war with the Amish in court. So over his son's passing. So anyway, you can't tell me he's not in on it. And so yeah, they're gonna promise this right up until he rips the rug out from under the Whitakers. This is just an hour before Eric backs out. I'm surprised Eric didn't go back and take them chips back. You know what I mean? But that's all they got is a $2 bag of chips, maybe 3-4 times. That's what Lorraine got as he's trying to, get custody of her son. And she does not, he's acting like she's just looking forward to these potato chips every time he comes. And no, if somebody comes up on your porch and shoves a giant bag of chips in your face, of course you're going to take them and put them aside. What are you supposed to do? And watch how he hovers over it. Now he's going to promise her that new house. Look at how close he is. Look at it. Get away. Your breath stinks. Ugh. Nasty breath. She knows he's a liar. Probably knows everything. She said bull crap. Timmy, okay, here, let me, hold on. Look at him hovering over her. Guess what, Lorraine? We're going to build you a new house. Guess what, Lorraine? We're going to build you a new house. You want a new house? You ball it. Get your own bedroom. You'll have a bedroom. Yeah. Timmy will have his own bedroom. You'll have your own bedroom. Betty will have her own bedroom. Does Lorraine look comfortable? Does she look like she enjoys him in her face? And you know his breath stinks. I mean, that's a given, you know what I mean? But on top of it, you don't think she's kind of caught on to his, all his lies? I think they've all caught on at this point. But right up to the end, he's promising this house, so.
You want a new house?
New house?
Get your own bedroom. Timmy has his own bedroom. You'll have a bedroom. Betty, yeah. Y'all all have your own bedroom. Come on.
John Mass says, yeah, come on. What do you want her to do, John? Huh? What do you want her to do? Get up and start polka dancing? I mean, what is he expecting here? Watch him. And like I said, you can't convince me ever that he's not in on this.
Timmy has his own bedroom. You'll have a bedroom. Betty, yeah. Y'all all have your own bedroom.
Come on. And an hour later, he calls it off because he sees BJ at home where she belongs, where she lives. But it takes this special black heart to do this to this family. I can't even imagine. So let's go through the list so far of things Eric promised that he never came through on and never intended to. Now remember, this here where he's still promising the house on September 5th. Now we're into fall. Okay, he's had all summer. And an hour before he rips the rug out from under everybody, he's still promising, still making promises he has absolutely no intention of keeping. Flat out lying. First, he promised them a double wide on the very first video. Oh, we can haul in a double wide. Then the double wide turned into barnuminium. And in order to make sure his good buddy, best friend Robert Mass gets a piece of the pie, he brings in the idea Amish builders. Yeah, have the Amish builders build the barnuminium. And then to make sure it's stalled even more, they're going to have the Amish build a log home, but now it's not going to be till September. More stall tactics. Larry never got that plane ride he was promised. Eric never brought that deer meat he promised. Whitaker's never got to go to the beach like Eric promised. Ray never got to the knee doctor like Eric promised. Whitaker's never got to stay in that Airbnb Eric promised. Now, on top of all that, let's go over other things he didn't come through on. Let's go over other promises that Eric Carroll broke. The Whitakers were supposed to get a third cut of the money. And at first, he never said anything about their third going into a trust. That came later. That was just an excuse not to hand them over their money. Because who in their right mind is going to agree to work for this money and do these videos if you're never going to see the money? If somebody said, we're going to have this deal, you're going to get a third of the money, but you'll never see it. It's all your money is going to go into a trust. And later, people after you die will get it. No. But he never did give them a third. As of today, nope, hasn't. So this was a huge one. They never got a third of their cut. Eric also promised the Whitakers 100% of all donations and gifts, although he never set up any way to have the donations come to the Whitakers. There was no place for anybody to donate for the Whitakers, and there was no place to send the gifts. So they never got 100% of donations because there was no place to donate. Eric made sure every penny came to the social media because that's what he had full control of. So this was a huge broken promise. Tens of thousands and thousands of dollars. And speaking of donations, Eric had all summer, he had months to set up a P.O. box and never set it up. Another thing he promised that he broke. because without this P.O. box, they don't get anything. Just like without nothing set up for donations for them, they didn't get no cash. They also didn't get no gifts because there was no P.O. box set up. One excuse after the next. He had almost 3 months to do this, and he never did. But I promise you, if this was his P.O. box, he would have had 10 of them set up immediately the same day. But because it was for the Whitakers, and he didn't care. In fact, I think it seems like he almost went out of his way to make sure they didn't get nothing. And this was another thing. This P.O. box, this would have taken an hour, to do. Go into Beckley and get a P.O. box. But he said he went one time, and he went at the end of the summer. They could have gotten things all summer long. But he went one time at the end of the summer, and he said, oh, well, they ran out of their house and they were closed. Well, then go back the next day. He should have gone there in June, right from the beginning. But he never, from June to September, he never took that minute to go do this P.O. box. And that made sure the Whitakers never got a single gift. A few things went to Patrick's house, but, the boxes were all open and they, who knows what they even got. And this is one of the reasons why I'm pretty sure that West Virginia State Police opened up the investigation, because in that article, every article said that they're investigating cash and donations and gifts that were supposed to go to the Whitakers and never did. And this is why, because he couldn't take 5 minutes to run into this place and set up because he was in Beckley all the time. So he could have, when he's there eating and doing all of those other things, stop off and get that P.O. box. 3 months, no excuse. As a matter of fact, they could still be getting gifts today. Things that they really need since they got robbed from Eric. Another rotten thing he did was he never set up the trust funds he was talking about. Whitakers were supposed to have these trust funds, right? He made an excuse not to pay them, saying, oh, this is all going to go into a trust fund. Well, he had 3 months. 3 months. Now it's been how long? Let me figure it out. Now I think it's been 4.5 months, and he still hasn't done anything with the trust fund or anything like that. And not only the trust fund, but he also said that he's going to, meet with the trust guy, and he's going to, remember he said he had somebody set up in Beckley, and Patrick said they called and the guy never had an appointment with Eric, but he lied. And when was this appointment? He said he made an appointment and Betty failed to show up. So he blamed it all on Betty, but you know what? He had 2.5 months to set up this trust fund. It wasn't even until the end of August 25th or 26th, when he had the appointment for the trust fund. Well, and he also said they're going to take out quarterly taxes and stuff. Do you know it's already been a couple quarters have gone by? So if he was going to do this, he would have done it in June when they started. He had all month of July. He didn't do nothing. He could have set up these trust funds in July, and they could be doing the taxes and all the other things he'd promised. But nope, no trust fund. To this day, no trust fund. Another lie. Now, Eric had Betty sign all them papers and fill out all these papers because they were going to get someone can come in and do some housekeeping. Oh, yeah, a lot of housekeeping and stuff. Until you get your house done, they're going to come in and do houses. What happened to the housekeeping? That's why he wanted her to fill out the papers, right? For this, so they could get some home, somebody come in and help clean. Never happened. A lie. And he also said those papers were to get him some health care to come in. In fact, Eric claimed that if you fill out these papers, you're going to get, some health care to come in, and they're going to get you 8 hours a day of home health care. That's a bold-faced lie. There's no way they would give them 8 hours a day for each person. Not even one person. I'll tell you why. Because they're all ambulatory. Everybody can walk. Nobody is bedridden. They really don't need... And I doubt Whitakers would want somebody there 8 hours a day to begin with. but they are not in need of 8 hours a day of home health care. All right. I'm going to tell you what, when my husband was dying, he was in and out of a coma. He was bedridden. I mean, I had to lift him, and you know what we got? We got, I think, 2 or 3 hours a day of some assistance to come in. And during that time, I had to jump in my vehicle and go get our food and go shopping and pick up his handicap supplies and go get to the pharmacy and get some medications and rush home. And they would be getting ready to leave, okay? Because, and he was dying of cancer. Like I said, in and out of comas, and we only got like 3-4 hours a day. And, in hospice, that was hospice at home. So you tell me that Ray, Lorraine, and Timmy need 8 hours a day over there. That is just such a stretch of a lie. I can't even tell you, because I've been there. And then, no, they ain't going to give them 8 hours a day. Like I said, what are they going to do all day? Sit on the porch with them? They don't. Who wants somebody at your house 8 hours a day? You don't know. Now, he also promised to get Timmy some dentures and hearing aids. And, well, for one thing, that's not going to work, because Timmy would not wear dentures, okay? And as far as a hearing aid, maybe, I don't know. But I'll tell you what, in one of the videos I just saw of Soft White Underbelly, it was a recent one too. I think it was last year before, maybe recent. One of the last ones, Betty was telling Mark that Betty, Lorraine, and Timmy go to the doctor every single month. They have to go every month to get their medications refilled and all this other stuff. So Betty, Lorraine, and Timmy go to the doctor every month already. So yeah, I don't think they need Dr. Eric to interfere, but no way. But that's what the crowd wanted to hear. Oh, get Timmy some dental. The crowd was trying to make Timmy into something that he's not. And they're trying to make all the Whitakers into something that they're not. And yeah, they just said no, he had no business doing that. And I don't know if Timmy even got the hearing aid, but it was what people wanted to hear. So Eric's like, yeah, we'll get him that too. We'll get him dentures and we'll get him hearing aid, not realizing the extent of it. And just, he doesn't even know what he's talking about. And maybe he got him a miracle ear or something. I don't know what he did. I don't think he got him anything. Somebody said, I don't know. Anyway, but another lie. Because this is what the people wanted to hear, and they were just throwing money at St. Eric, and they were going to have that meet and greet, so everybody could meet the Whitakers and all this stuff, and that never happened either. Just a bunch of empty promises. And so you can see, I don't know how many, like 20 lies right there, 20 promises he made, never, everything from just little, BS promises to the big house and the everything else. And I believe it was just all a stall tactic, dangling carrots over the Whitakers. Has promised and promised, because I'm telling you what, he wouldn't have gotten anywhere without all these promises. He wouldn't have gotten anywhere if he wouldn't have gained the Whitakers' trust and made them these promises of all these riches and fun things, and everything from a house to all the way down to deer meat. Just in first plane ride, you name it, rub Eric's belly and you make a wish, and he's gonna make it come true, because he's a big daddy, right? He's Daddy Warbucks. He's here to make all your dreams come true, but really he was there to make his dreams come true. Because out of all them promises, he never kept one to the Whitakers. And you know what? Let's look at the list of promises that the Whitakers made and didn't keep for Eric. Here it is, guys. Here's the list of promises that the Whitakers made to Eric and didn't keep. Here's the promises that they made. And this is also a list of the promises that they broke. And as you can see, it's empty. They haven't made any promises. They haven't broke any promises. They never did promise something that they didn't do. Yet Eric has this long laundry list. I mean, diabolical to do to somebody, to an entire family. Looking Timmy right in the face, saying, I promise you're going to get a house. Lorraine, I promise you're going to get a house. And Betty and Larry, I promise you're going to get a house. And Ray, I promise you're going to get a house. And we're going to fix your knee. He knew the whole time. Whitakers meant nothing to Eric. They were nothing but a means to his end. They were nothing there but cash cows. And that's why he only was kind to them because he had to. He's making them promises not to keep them, but because he had to keep them, stringing them along. Anyway, I'm sure I haven't even wrote down all the promises Eric made and broke, but there is some. There's probably about 20 of them there. I mean, that's all he did. And for anybody in the future that's going to deal with Eric Carroll, this list here that you see in front of us, this is also a list of promises that Eric kept. All right? This is a list of the promises that Eric kept. Do you see that? How many promises are on there that Eric kept? None. And I am 100% convinced that Eric's brother, John Mast, douche from California, every last one of Eric's buddies knew this was a scam. I would bet on it. Because I'm sure they know him. I'm sure they've seen him do this over and over and over. I just can't even believe this. I can't even believe people with no conscience like this. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm going to wrap this up, and peace.